Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. It was another awesome week. We have so many momentum sectors right now. This is just a sweet spot in small cap land. Usually we have one sector and we rotate in and out of that sector. Right now we have several sectors. We've got penny stocks, penny biotech stocks, EV/solar stocks. We've got Bitcoin stocks. We've got virus stocks. A lot of sectors rotating back and forth depending on what the headline news is out. That is a fantastic scenario to be in. Also, one other thing, we have a lot of swings. We, by that meaning I, have a lot of swings right now. And the one thing you got to keep in mind, this is still, despite the fact that we have a lot of momentum sectors, a very random market. There is no knowing what hour or what day the scanners and the algos are going to come for certain stocks in certain sectors. For that reason, we need to take and have been taking that shotgun approach, playing small positions in a lot of stocks. And then when they start to move, we start pressing and adding day trades on those swing positions. No knowing when something's going to move. That way we can get in and out. Now, with that strategy in mind, we're going to have an extra number of swing positions. Now, as you guys know, or if you didn't know, the way I like to approach swings, we've got those small positions they run. As I mentioned, we add to those positions when they hit breakouts. But when they hit targets and we book profits, I like to leave, as I call it, free shares to ride and just see where the craziness, these crazy algos that go nuts sometimes, take these stocks. I would say a good 33 to 40% of our current swings are big winners we've had over the last month. Now, with that in mind, say you're in a position where you're going, you know what, I need to raise some cash. The first stocks that I look at when I'm going to do that are to jettison those free positions. Those are the easiest stocks to raise cash with. You've already made your profits on them. They're free shares. You go and you sell them. The ones that follow after that are the ones that you just get tired of looking at. Just because you sell a stock doesn't mean you can't rebuy it. We are, after all, traders. We date them. We don't marry them. Now, with that in mind, let's jump into some charts. This is the Dow 1 hour chart, and you can see we just keep going between this rising wedge. You know, it hits the top, it dips a little, falls to the bottom, you know, it bounces a little. We're not getting crazy up moves, we're not getting crazy down moves, which makes the fear in the market get less, and we see a lot more speculation. QQQ chart, it's continued its slow and steady breakout. But the one chart I wanted to talk about real briefly is the Dow transport stocks. Now, Dow transport stocks have been on a very nice rally, and it keeps breaking and making new highs. And it's doing so on increased volume. The reason I bring this one up, I haven't brought this indice up in a while. This is kind of bullish for the market. So when you see these kinds of stocks doing well, it usually means the hope for the economy is pretty strong. So that's where we're at right now. Now, we, with common sense, know there are a lot of issues with this market. It is ignoring almost everything. The Fed continues to pump cash into the system, and that is what's holding this market up. That and hope. Now, the two hopes that we have right now are the vaccine and stimulus. It seems like, given the horrendous jobs report and the economy slowly drifting down when it comes to job creation, we're probably going to get a stimulus soon. That's going to be another backstop hope that's probably going to keep this market going higher. Now, what's going to end up happening once we really start shipping the vaccines out there, and once we get that stimulus, do not be surprised to see the market breathe a sigh of relief and then sell off. But until then, we should continue to see this really strong upward bias. So let's jump into some stock plays. Now, if I don't go over a play today, don't be running and asking 400 questions in the room tomorrow. What about X? What about Y? I probably ran out of time. If it's on the swing list, it's still a swing. HDSN. As I mentioned, one of the big things pushing this rally in large caps and in the market overall is the vaccine rolling out in a few days. This is still an unfound play on it. HDSN. These guys sell the super cold refrigerant that you need. If you've not been watching the headlines, these viruses have to be stored in very cold temperatures, which requires a lot of refrigeration. There are headlines all over the place about cold storage and fridges selling out. These guys are the actual chemical that keeps these things closed. It's starting to break out nicely. We still haven't gotten that multi-volume day. This stock will have a 10, 20 million volume day, in my opinion, before all said and done. Remember, we are usually very, very early. And with that in mind, I'm sure you guys have noticed a lot of our swing plays, we're back to that thing where we had earlier in the year, where within about 2 weeks' time, these stocks go boom. So let's see what happens here. Big breakout level here is 177. You can see the next level. I mean, we've had to pull this out a couple of years, but 220s would be next. And then after that, you know, it's off to the races on this stock. This is the daily chart. Every day you'll see me say picking up some shares in this stock. This is a beautiful setup on this stock. It pops and drops about 10 to 20 cents every single day. This is how you make your swing positions free. You have a swing position. You have in a separate account a day trade position. Stock drops down to the 150 area, pick some shares up. 165. There's 15 cents. You do that 10 times, you got a free position in the stock. It's probably done this, probably 5 to 6 times already in the last 2 weeks. So that is how you can approach this stock while you sit in your swing position. Take advantage of these fantastic ATM machine movements up and down. ADMP vaccine play gave us a very, very solid bounce last week when we jumped in. Now we're flagging here a little bit. If you look at this chart, it should remind you a lot of ZZAN that gave us a monstrous move on 2 to 3 swing ads over the last month. We've got a nice little flag on this puppy here. Next break, over 54 cents. We're looking at 65 to 70 cents on this one. Now my other favorite play, we're moving into the next hot sector, which is EV/solar, charging, etc., is SugarBox, SGBX. This chart reminds me a lot of AYRO. These guys are partnered with Blink Charging, which I picked up some long-term shares on it just to have some charging exposure. Shorts have piled into that one. These guys are partnered with them. Now, if you're not familiar with SGBX, these guys grab those shipping containers, convert them, and roll them out. They've got COVID testing sites, but they've also partnered with Blink to roll out EV charging. Think about it. It costs a lot of money, a lot of planning, getting the land, building, etc. these days, especially in California, to put these charging stations in. Blink and SugarBox, they're going to put them in these things, beep, 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 drop them off, and there you have a charging station. Excellent, excellent idea. We pull this chart out and we look at the 1 hour chart. You can see we finally got that breakout the other day and a nice spike up to 320. Now we're consolidating again for another move. I've got 350 here, but you know, that's just a small, smidgely little target. We have eyes on a potentially big move on this one. If and should this EV sector keep rolling, remember, Biden's got a plan to roll out tens of thousands of electric chargers in the next couple of years. All these stocks should do very, very well in the interim. PLG. Now remember PLG earlier in this month, the stock would not move. We had monster DD on it with their lithium battery division. No one wanted to pay any attention to it, and look at over the last 2 weeks. Now they love it. On Friday, they really loved it. Even with the other stocks kind of dead, they were chasing this puppy nicely higher. Let's pull out and look at a multi-year chart here. You can see this $2.98, $3 level. It broke over on Friday. Is a big level for this stock. Eyes next on a move to 5+. Last but not least in this sector, oh, actually, we got another one after this. TRCH still hasn't really gotten on the radar. And by that, I mean that mega volume, 100 million, 200 million volume day that we've been seeing in these momentum penny stocks when the robots come calling. They are merging with a solar company that is partnered with Lockheed Martin. It is trading under $1. ENG, OEG, SUNW. These were all swing plays that we got into before the crowds that went massive. ENG doubled. OEG doubled. Sun ran like 900%. This is the last of these ones down here. Any dips, 45, even 40 under if it does dip that way is what I would be looking to add to my position on this one. The merger update, there are still in discussions with these guys, is later this week on the 11th of December. UAMY. This is another EV battery play that has just been coiling here, waiting for a breakout. 75 cents is our first target on here. They'll come chasing over 50 cents. Plain and simple. While it's ranging in a tight range, we just use that to our advantage to make our swing positions free. The next hot sector we're looking at, China low float / pennies. Every day last week, one stock or the other was getting jammed late in the day and into the next day by some large buyers. No news, just blowing up one by one. I've got 3 stocks that I think have a chance to do that this week. First one up is CSCW. California just locked down. New York's probably, next in a few days. Online education China play. Nice little setup here. 70 cents or 71 is the 200-day moving average. But, if we get that crazy China move, we're looking at 1+. The other one, ITP. It's another swing of ours that we've been patiently sitting on. Chart looks great. 1+ is what we're looking for in this one. And when this one goes, it goes when it gets big volume. Volume hasn't come back here. This is another candidate for that. RETO is the last one. They tried to push this one in pre-market on Friday. Came back down. Actually was doing some nice ranges between the 70 to 75 cent area on Friday. I would keep an eye on this one. If it's able to break back above, 85 to 90 would probably be an indication that they've chosen to go after this one. So keep an eye on this one as well this week. Penny biotechs and penny stocks is the last sector we're going to talk about right now. GHSI. GHSI has been fantastic, really. Remember, we've been swinging since down here, and each time it broke a level, we added a position to trade on that. Perfect. Stair-step action up here. Already a 50% move, but each time we added these breakouts, 24, 26, 32, it moved higher. It did an inevitable retrace. When you see people complaining on Twitter, you called the breakout at 28 cents. They never mention that the initial breakout was at 21 cents, that we added at 20, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the kind of people you just ignore because they just like to whine and complain. Surround yourself with positive attitude and positive people, and you will do very well in trading. As for this chart, of course it was going to pull back. People seem to think that stocks go from 1 to 100 and don't dip, or go from 100 to 1 and don't bounce. A little bit of common sense tells you things are going to sell off and then they're going to bounce. This one's set up for a bounce this week. INUV. It's just coiled in this middle of this trading range. It's just in love with its 200-day moving average. It won't go above it, won't go below it. But when we break 45 cents, you can be sure they're going to chase this one nicely higher. And with the economy reopening, quotation marks, with the virus vaccine coming, advertising is going to boom. CHEK, penny biotech. It has 50 cents cash per share. We can buy it at 35 cents. We could shut the company down, theoretically, and walk away with a 50% profit. That's why I love these cash setup plays. One quick mention, job sector. As I said, the economy really is sucking because we've run out of stimulus right now when it comes to jobs, and the shutdown again is not going to help a lot of places. California has just shut down for the next 3 weeks. Look what Volt has done. Volt is the other jobs play. Volt has gone up 75% in the last week and a half. Job is just sitting here. This is why it's a swing. As we know, in this random market, we know we've got a good setup. We know we've got a good sector. It's just a matter of waiting for someone to decide that they're going to buy it, and we'll look around and this thing will be at $1.45. That's just the way the market works right now. So that's it for the video, guys. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.